worldwide. Let's go. Listen. So now it's time to turn it up. Surf the radio waves as we begin to burn it up. We all up in your area like landscape, definitely bringing you the pancakes. It's a mandate that you tune in. It's time to move out so we can move in and recognize that this is no illusion. I'm here to clear the air so that there is no confusion. It all started off in the book of Genesis when Jacob was wrestling with who he thought was his nemesis. And when the man saw he couldn't overpower him, he touched his hip but he really couldn't devour him. And from that point, then we hear a name change, rearrange the game, so now we gotta change lanes. So I'm here to let you know it's time to listen to the Pancake and Powerslam Show. Let's go! Turn it up, turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up, turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up, turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslam Show. Turn it up, turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up, turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up, turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslam Show. Turn it up.
What's going on, everybody? Episode 478 of the Pancakes and Powerslam Show. We are live and living Culligan, fungi like a monkey of your wheel, baby. Yeah. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun for the next 40 minutes or so. Let's have some fun. All right. Lots of questions already from the PMP Nation. We have a great time every single week here, and this week is no different. We're going to have some fun as always. Have I discussed all the recent NXT releases? I have not. I think the biggest one I'm surprised by is probably Vanessa Bourne. She had a lot of potential. Jessamine Duke, I never thought she had that potential, unfortunately. Drake, they can him for political reasons. Who else did they can? Somebody put the list of NXT releases on there. I just remember those three specifically. As far as the ones, Vanessa Bourne was the one I was surprised by the most because I think she had a bunch of potential. Oh, a Dream. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised about that. I've been following that with the I read out the whole IG post from him, and someone said in the comments, he said he stopped talking to somebody, and then someone showed a screenshot of the day of a tweet after the time frame he said he stopped talking to him. Just a bunch of back and forth, and he's saying that the dream is over. I mean, I'm wondering if it's just really. I mean, look, from a psychotherapist standpoint, this really seems very deflating to him as a person. I mean, if he's not guilty of all these accusations, and they decided to let him go because of the CPO, court of public opinion, I don't think that's fair. I mean, if he is guilty, it's more than fair. But if he's not guilty, we don't really have an innocent until proven guilty type of model when it comes to accusations anymore. So, especially if the old CPO gets a hold of it, it's pretty much a goner. So it seems like Dream was bit by the CPO bug, and unfortunately, WWE, being a publicly traded organization, being real big about being PC, For the most part, they take those things highly into consideration to be sure to please their stockholders. And so, unfortunately, I think there was so much potential in Dream, man. Turning him heel again was a bad call. It just seems like they did that to kind of eventually ride him out, and let him go. And yeah, it's been like 5 months since he's wrestled, I think. And so, yeah, since like the end of last year. So, the heel thing to me was just a way to ride him off into the sunset in a very unfortunate way. And yeah, I don't know what's next for Patrick Clark. He's still very young. And I don't know if I don't see an androgynous character, Prince style, Prince influence character really working. It would feel like a knockoff. It feels like the Velveteen Dream is exclusively for WWE or NXT. I don't see this character going somewhere else and being successful because it's going to feel like a knockoff. And so that's the thing. And he did the Patriot gimmick, that was the best thing for Patrick Clark because all the other gimmicks that they tried, to bring him in just didn't work. Dream was perfect for him. He really just embraced and engulfed the character and it really worked. It worked very well. But we'll see. We'll see what's next for him. Wish him the best, that's for sure. Are they turning Riddle heel? Seems like they're kind of teasing that. Which making them a heel tag team. It would seem like it would make sense that that Riddle's trying to influence Orton, but Orton is more influencing Riddle. Which WWE Raw, on top of you're confusing the fans. Like you're utterly confusing the fans because at the end of the day, it's like I don't know who to cheer, who to boo. I don't know who to really lock into because this person's going to lose. That's like me coming into football, right? And I'm picking my team. And I want to pick some winners. And it doesn't make sense for me to pick some losers. If my team, if my local team isn't really a good team or hasn't been a really established team for a long time. Thankfully, as an Ohio State fan, I don't have that issue. But at the same time, there's a lot of, for instance, I'm a huge college basketball fan too. And although Ohio State didn't make it to the playoffs, although we lost first round, which was unfortunate, but I'm a big Duke fan anyways for college football, college basketball. Everybody knows huge college football, Ohio State, college basketball, Duke. But if I'm going into a sport not knowing anything about a pro wrestler, and I'm like, I want to get behind the one who wins a lot because I know that I'm not going to spend so much time feeling a certain way if he loses. So I'm going to watch this for about a month. And so if I was doing that experiment and I was only watching Raw, I really wouldn't know how to come out of that. I really wouldn't because everybody's 50-50. Like this person loses this week, this person loses this week. I would leave that month saying, I'm out. Like I really don't know who to root for because is this a good guy? Is this a bad guy? Am I supposed to rally behind him? Yeah, but he won this week. Yeah, but he lost this week. This is too confusing for me. I'm out. Speaking of that, when it comes to Asuka, who's one of my favorites, but she's being booked so poorly, I don't know if WWE's giving up Asuka, but she's sure has been booked poorly lately. She lost to Rhea now twice. She's actually lost to Rhea 3 times, if I'm not mistaken, and lost to Charlotte multiple times. Charlotte broke her streak. Charlotte, not only did she break her streak at WrestleMania, but she lost right before WrestleMania 35 and became champ. And then she recently beat her. I mean, she's beat her so many times. It's absolutely horrible how they're pushing Asuka, how they're booking Asuka. And like I said before, it seems like I said on Legion of Raw last night, it seems like they're pushing Asuka aside, which they shouldn't. This doesn't make any sense. It seems like they're pushing Asuka aside to bring in Eva as a babyface. And so, look, I'm interested to see what they're doing with Eva as a babyface, but I don't think it should be at the expense of pushing Asuka aside, because you really don't have a strong babyface anymore, because they're not making Naomi and Lana strong babyfaces, and plus they're a team. Somebody tell me on the Raw roster who is a strong singles babyface right now, because you made Rhea a heel, you clearly made Charlotte a heel, Nikki Cross perhaps, but I mean, you know, she's in one week and out the other, and she's a lumberjill the other week. So I mean, WWE Raw roster is stacked with heels right now, stacked with heel talent, especially on their women's roster, singles women's roster. Alexa Bliss, you have Charlotte, you have Rhea, and so it's like you have enough heels right now to, you know, to no longer you don't need a you need to be establishing baby faces. Simple as that. Hashtag Ask Chris, as you guys know, I interviewed Tom Pritchard. Yes, I said that in the beginning of my show. Ricky, I would suggest that you watch the actual shows. And because I on the actual show in the beginning of the show, I actually gave dates of when I interviewed Tom Pritchard. Once in 2016 and once in 2017. Let's see who we got here. Oh my gosh. Alonzo, this Cedric Alexander has the most obnoxious promo, and it's not obnoxious in a way that's like generating heat from me. Like, it's obnoxious in a way like I don't want to see him talk. Like, I don't want to see his promos whatsoever. And I've interviewed Cedric, and it's like super nice guy, super talented. I've interviewed him, and you know, definitely, you know, well kept and got his wits about himself, and you know, solid dude. But when he's intense, those promos are just awful, just absolutely obnoxiously, annoyingly awful, and not in like a generating heel way. It's just stop talking. And it's just Cedric's promos are the worst thing on Raw right now. 100% the worst thing on Raw. Double or nothing. Sure thing. I will do that for you, Ricky. All right. Double or nothing actually has some pretty solid matches. Let's do. I think the Bucks retain. Excuse me. I think Moxley and Kingston would be pretty cool. I think the Bucks retain and somehow they build it up again in some form. Although I really think Moxley and Kingston should win, but I don't see the Bucks losing yet. Sting and Darby Allin, I think they beat the heels. Inner Circle wins the Stadium Stampede. Miro retains against Archer. Adam Page wins. There's a part of me I think a Go-Go's going to win that match against Cody. Although I'm not sold on Anthony Go-Go whatsoever. But I got a feeling he's going to win. I think Britt Baker wins the championship. I think that Kenny retains. And as far as who wins the Casino Battle Royal, so I can see Omega versus I can see Christian. I can see Christian Cage. I like it has a cool ring to it. Although I don't think they've been building Christian well enough. He doesn't feel like a main event star to me. And I've always told everybody I've always been a Christian guy over Edge. I've always liked Christian over Edge. But I don't know. I mean, he had a pretty cool debut. And he picked up the belt. But I mean, he's been like wrestling the beginning and middle of the card. Like he doesn't feel like a main event guy. I'm not upset that he's been feuding with Team Taz. I think that's a good spot to put him in as a babyface right now. And I also prefer Christian to be a babyface too. I know he has his cool heel runs, but we've seen Christian with those same type of annoying heel runs too much. I mean, I prefer his in-ring work as a babyface. Plus, I like the fact, I don't know how they made it happen. Maybe since Khan and Callis have a partnership, I'm glad that they brought in his TNA music, the Christian Cage TNA music. I think that was a good call to keep that music. So, I mean, I'm interested in Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega. I'd be interested in that match as far as who wins the Casino Battle Royale. So those are my double or nothing predictions. Alonso says Legion of Raw show you do with Vince is more entertaining than Monday Night Raw. Yes, thank you, Alonso. That is exactly the point. That is the goal, is to make Legion of Raw more entertaining than Raw, because Raw is not entertaining. And if Legion of Raw is not as entertaining as Raw, or the same level of entertainment as Raw, I apologize, because the reason Raw would be a very whack show and not entertaining whatsoever. So the goal is to make it better than Raw every single week and super entertaining, because you had to watch 3 hours of Raw and now you're spending time to watch another hour of post-Raw commentary. So this whole experience to all of our fans is 4 hours long. At least we want one of those hours to be entertaining. All right. Seemed to go downhill for Asuka when Kairi Sane left. I mean, she became Raw Women's Champion after that. And the Kabuki Warriors it just felt like a placeholder to me. Like it didn't feel like Asuka to me. I wasn't a huge fan of it. Can you join the focus group, Aaron? I was thinking about that today. I might have people ask me or apply via email to be a part of the focus group. We may play it on Legion of Raw. So you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. James is asking, why do you think Raw is so bad now? Do you think it's the creative or lack of part-timers? James, I think the part-timers is a good point too, because there's been so many fans that say, oh, we don't need the part-timers, you're the part-timers. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, there's no star power. So until you build stars, the part timers is really going to pull in the casual audience. You sure as heck ain't pulling in a casual audience what we see on Raw every week. We literally saw Reginald and Shayna Baszler closing the show on Raw. Who in the world is going to be intrigued as a casual fan who's either one, never watched Raw, or two, haven't watched Raw in several years? You know, a really good friend of mine, we Marco Polo each other, and he was talking about, he's never been a fan of wrestling, but I mean, he supports my pro wrestling fandom, and making a lucrative career as a podcaster. And so, he was like, what? He was like, what? If I start watching wrestling, he's one of those guys who likes to research and likes to know things and likes to be in depth about it. And so, if he gets into wrestling, he has to go through all the backlog and all that just to kind of understand where we are today. And I told him, and this is from someone who's been watching wrestling for 35 years. All right. And I told him, I said, you do not want to jump into pro wrestling right now. And if you do start watching wrestling, this is not a proper representation of pro wrestling, the pro wrestling that I've known to love. You better go back to at least the 80s and the 90s to understand everything after that. The 2000s were okay. The beginning, I think Ruthless Aggression was a pretty good era. Brock and Batista and Cena for sure. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's carried the brand. I mean, he carried WWE on his back for a decade. But I've said this before. I think the Cena era was really the demise of the casuals leaving, or the people who aren't as hardcore leaving. I think it was because of the Cena era, and just not a lot of star power, not a lot of riveting storylines where pro wrestling really established itself by having riveting storylines. The Cena era didn't do that. It didn't, from like 06 to on, really after 06. Ruthless Aggression was really good. I wouldn't call that the Cena era. I call the Cena era probably 05 because that's the first time he won his championship. I'd say probably 05 to, I would say now, but he's been a part-timer for the past few years. But yeah, it hasn't been the same over the past 15 years, unfortunately. Yeah, Adnan, he's been released, but he wanted to leave though. He said on Twitter that his commitments to the MLB and things, like he's traveling too much. He's still in the MLB network, and he's just traveling way too much to really stay committed to having both jobs. So, I don't ever wish anybody doesn't have a job, but I mean, the writing was on the wall with this. I mean, to be fair, he just wasn't a good commentator for Raw. MLB, sure, and I'm glad that he has another lucrative job that's not going to make him, without pay anywhere. So I'm glad about that. And it makes me feel even more kind of justified in talking about how bad he was as an announcer. And I was thinking about this yesterday, though. I could tell that he really wanted to succeed. I could tell that because I did pick up the past week or two some more emotion, but the previous 5, it just wasn't. It was emotionless, and it felt just bland and lethargic. It just didn't work for me. And again, the play-by-play guy has such a essential role when it comes to the pulse of the match and hooking the fans in and keeping our attention. The commentators, especially the play-by-play guy, it's essential to do that. That's the reason why. I mean, come on now. Jim Ross is in the Hall of Fame because he was a commentator. Jerry Lawler, although he had a storied wrestling history before the WWE, he wrestled for a hiccup and he became a commentator. So it's and that really was his WWE career as a color commentator. Jim Ross is a play-by-play guy. So it's like you have, especially Jim Ross, you have someone who is in the Hall of Fame because of their commentary skills. And you just have to get to the point where you cannot lower your standard when it comes to good play-by-play and commentary, period. But especially play-by-play. That's why I still am, man. Some people don't like him, but I don't agree. I'm a huge fan of Mauro Ranallo. I think the Mamma Mia, I think the play-by-play, standing up, he's feeling it. Like, you got to feel it. If you don't feel it as a commentator, why in the heck, if I'm coming as a casual fan, why in the world am I feeling that? Like, how do you expect me to feel it if I'm listening to you and you're feeling like, and I feel like I'm at some golf outing, or doing some commentary for, some random, peewee baseball game or something. Like, it just, if you're not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. Simple as that. And on the play-by-play, again, if you're not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. And don't expect me to feel it. And that's why I was a big fan of Mauro. I was a big fan of Percy Watson, too. I think the Mauro, Nigel McGuinness, and Percy Watson trio was probably one of the best announcing trios in WWE for a long time. They really gelled very, very well together. You had the charisma. You had the very over-the-top personality with Mauro and Percy, and you have more of a even-keeled, calmer type of dynamic, balanced dynamic with Nigel McGuinness. That trio was amazing to me in NXT. And I will admit that Vic and Barrett, and I'm growing a little to Beth Phoenix. She's okay. At first, I was just like, I'm not feeling Phoenix at all. She's okay. The current NXT dynamic is probably the best in WWE right now. I think Vic Joseph. I like Vic Joseph. I think he does a pretty good job on NXT. I don't think he's no Mauro, but I think that he definitely causes us to be in the moment, which play-by-play people should cause us to be in the moment. And a color commentator is adding more layers, adding more color, painting the picture more after the play-by-play guy sets it up. Basically lays the canvas out, sketches the picture, and then the color guy adds more layers to it. And that's how it should be. You really don't feel that with announcing nowadays, but NXT is probably the best. Yeah, I can't think of any other better announcing team on WWE right now than them. Yeah, I agree, Chris. I feel bad for anyone who loses a job, and Anon Verk did not work out with him. I agree. It didn't work out for me. What's up, Dion? Always great to have you on the show, joining us. I am having a grand night. I am ready to relax. I am tired. I've had a really I just have a really tiring schedule. I'm a therapist, and that's super draining. And then I'm a podcaster. I have multiple shows a week, various different platforms. Actually, 3 different platforms. My own, Viz United, of course, PMP, and then Sports Kita, and then shared PMP with Wrestling Rumors. So PMP partners with Wrestling Rumors. So yeah, busy guy, man. Busy guy. Then most importantly, taking care of a family of 5. And I'm also a certified life coach. And so I have life coach clients. I'm also a college professor. So I'm done with my curriculum, but I just need some time to continue to, to kind of prepare for that. And I got to do video presentations for 8 weeks of school. And I'm going to speak at a Theology and Apologetics conference the second week of June. So I'm putting a presentation together for that. And so I just need some rest. And I'm going to get some rest in about 6 to 10 minutes. But it's always fun to talk to the PMP Nation, because stuff like this, to me, it's like, it's fun. It's cathartic, long day, and just to spend the rest of my night just hanging out with y'all. When I get off here, I'll probably finish watching the Warrior doc on A&E. I'll probably watch that. I've been binging. I had a little bit of open time at work yesterday, and a little bit more time open at work today. So I've watched all the Dark Sides. And Dark Sides has been pretty meh to me this season. The Pillman ones, both of them were good. It was 2 parts. Pillman one's really good. All the other ones was just meh. The Nick Gage one was. I really don't. I really don't see much of a dark side now. Now, granted, Chris Gage killed himself. And that's very sad. But the show wasn't really revolved around that. So there wasn't, to me, you're a hardcore wrestler. You wrestle a bunch of backyard events. You wrestle for CZW, which, granted, there's a lot of people who kind of sold their grounds or, kind of launched from CZW. And, you get hurt by wrestling with light tubes and barbed wire. I mean, that's your choice to wrestle that way. I really don't. To me, I didn't really understand. Yes, and I guess because he, went to jail twice. Sure, I'm glad that it seems like there's a better, path for him to take. He got into really good shape. So that was great. So, I don't know. I wasn't. The Dark Side of the Ring has set such a high standard on their docs, on their episodes, that, to me, that was just like a really cool YouTube doc to me, like the Nick Gage one, probably a YouTube documentary that I'll catch, on my free time one of these days. It was a good doc. It was a good doc. It just wasn't Dark Side level. Same thing with Collision Korea. I think the Collision Korea was cool. I think it, it was kind of revolved around Scorpio fighting Hawk. And just the testing of Korea at that time, Korea to the States. That was cool, but again, it wasn't really a Dark Side-esque feel to it. It just seems like a pretty cool YouTube doc. So I'm really hoping that the Warrior one and the other ones have maybe they showed them in this order, because It's going to get better as the season progresses, but so far this has been the worst season to me as far as just the intensity, just how much I've really been grabbed to the docks, to be honest with you. Rick CPO is Court of Public Opinion. Court of Public Opinion. Oh yeah, that's right. Alexander Wolf was also released. It seems like Wolf just felt like he was not using his potential the way that he wanted to. It also Wolf, the whole Imperium thing I think worked to me, but I think at the end of the day, the fact that Walter is, not, and he's not in the States and he doesn't want to be in the States. I think that just kind of really messes up Imperium to an extent. And so seeing how the tag team, they're in the States. So, yeah. Yeah, Brendan. I mean, you agree. Who's the heel? Who's the face anymore? It's like AJ heel or face. Can't tell anymore. Yeah, I mean, Vince Russo and I talked about this yesterday. I mean, I brought this up. And I said, look, listen, when were we supposed to know that AJ and Omos turned babyface? Like, are they babyfaces now? And why are they babyfaces? Why are you making some 7-foot giant, who's a dominant figure? Why is he a babyface? Well, what are you doing? I don't understand. And AJ for so long was cutting, he was a heel, cutting these promos. Makes no sense at all. Going back on the road, actually their tour starts in July. Mid-July is when their 25 city tour starts. And I believe Cena's supposed to be coming back. It's from July to 25 cities to September, I think, something like that. So I think it's cool. We needed that fan base. We needed that fan energy. It's nothing like it. I mean, you can Thunderdome all you want and pipe in crowd noise all you want. It really does. It also really doesn't accurately set a pulse of the WWE as far as where they should go booking wise. And why not have an outdoor, venue? It doesn't make sense. Have an outdoor venue, and you have the money to make it safe, and people get rained out. Give them some ponchos and put a canopy over the entrance in the ring. I mean, Daly's Place is an outdoor spot, and they have hundreds of wrestlers there, hundreds of talents there. That's why, to be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of AEW, but I would prefer. I mean, that's the reason why I favor AEW over watching NXT. I mean, I watch NXT every week. Talent-wise, NXT is great. I think NXT has probably the best talent roster of a brand as far as athleticism and competitiveness. And just I enjoy watching the matches. But it's like I prefer watching AEW because they have live fans who are into it, and it's causing that important energy. I mean, that's what they need. That's what they need. And you can't really book televised wrestling. Now, if you're in some backyard show with, 10 people, watching and things like that, that's a whole different deal. That's a different dynamic. But at the same time, like, this is millions and millions and billions and millions of fans, not billions, but millions of fans. And I mean, you're booking for television, man. It really is. So there you go. There you go. Dion's asking, with Rollins Cesaro feud that seems not over yet, who would you surprise pick to face Roman Reigns? Hell in a Cell? Good question, Dion. Looks like they're moving Big E over to Aleister Black, which makes no sense at all to me. I'm not happy about that because Big E needs to be pushed. They are doing a terrible job setting up baby faces, really making baby faces stand above the rest. They're doing a terrible job at that. I would say they'll probably do Jimmy. Probably do Jimmy Uso for a little bit. And then maybe the Usos join Reigns and beat the Mysterios. Something like that. I would do Jimmy versus Reigns with Jay as the guest ref. I think that would be intriguing. Because to me, Roman Reigns, I think his new car smell is kind of fading a bit, but I definitely think Roman Reigns is still a cut above the rest when it comes to characters and talent in the WWE as far as intriguing. But the Kevin Owens feud, the Daniel Bryan and Edge feud, the Cesaro feud, good for Cesaro. I like Cesaro, but none of them that really helped elevate the intensity of Roman Reigns' character. Like when he was feuding with Jay, he really set the bar pretty high when he was feuding with Jay because it was really riveting. It felt real. And so with Jimmy coming in the mix too, I think they can recreate that in a sense. And so I'm looking forward to see that. I think they should do Jimmy versus Reigns with Jay as the special ref at Hell in a Cell for sure. All right, let's see. A few more. Let's see. Maybe Alexa coming face? No, I don't see that happening. Plus, what she's doing now? Yep. I don't see it. It depends. I mean, if they come here, I'll go. Sure. If they come to where I stay, sure, I'll go. Edge and Sasha Banks returning to WWE in July when the tour starts. Cena's rumored to be at that first show. Yeah, I did hear Cena's rumored to be there. Yeah, I mean, Edge and Sasha Banks, sure. I mean, okay. Okay. I don't really see. I mean, Sasha, come back as a heel again and feud with Bianca again? Is that what they're doing? Rematch for SummerSlam, which I wouldn't mind, but okay, Sasha's coming back with the fans in July. Why is she gone? You know what I mean? Like I don't get it. Edge, I think having that, you don't want to oversaturate us with Edge, and so him coming back at that time is okay, but yeah. Okay, dokie. Miz as a commentator, I'm cool with that. While he's nursing his injury out for 7 months, I think that would be a good call. But who does the play-by-play though? Now, do you bring Tom Phillips? I mean, you demoted Tom Phillips and put him on 205 Live. Do you bring him back? Do you take Vic Joseph away from a good thing right now in NXT and put him back to Raw? But you had him on Raw and you took him off of Raw. You let him go. You brought him back, put him in NXT. And yeah, doesn't make any sense. And so Vic Joseph in NXT it's good. It should stay there. Tom Phillips back on Raw. I wasn't really feeling the Tom Phillips dynamic anyways. I think Tom Phillips was better on NXT too, honestly. Who do you bring in for play-by-play? Morrow doesn't like this. He doesn't want the schedule. Rightfully so. I don't know who you got. I really don't know who you got to bring in for play-by-play. It's really going to be. They'll probably move Tom Phillips up, but you need that strong play-by-play. Yeah, I guess I'm answering your question here, Chris. Know if any commentators are out there. Like I said, I think they'll bring Tom Phillips up as far as play-by-play. Striker's doing play-by-play on Impact right now. Ian Riccaboni, he's ROH play-by-play. Of course, you have. I think Excalibur is doing a good job play-by-play. I like Excalibur's work. It just feels a bit oversaturated there when they throw Taz in there too, and you got a 4-man booth. I I like the old school feel of Shivani and JR, and some odd way that kind of works, but they're two play-by-play guys kind of taking the back seat with Excalibur, who's kind of supposed to be the color guy, but he's doing more of the play-by-play. It's a really weird dynamic there with those three. JR just kind of does the play. He does more of the color now with the ad-libs, but sometimes he goes into play-by-play mode because he's so used to it. Shivani is definitely not a color guy. He's more play-by-play, but Excalibur is really, he has knowledge of the moves, so it's a very odd trio for sure. All right, Nxt UK Commentary Team. Yep, they're good. I know it's been a long shot, but since WWE's brought back over wrestlers and interviews, had issues with, but what if they brought back Kennedy or maybe commentary? They would enjoy that. Ken Anderson on commentary would be pretty cool. Nick Gage, or you just saw his work and made that observation of him. Yeah, Plane Ride from Hell should be pretty good. I think they'll be into the experience, really, not necessarily Raw. Cena going after Reigns. Sure. Cena versus Reigns at SummerSlam. Reigns go over. Sure. When is Evan coming back? Evan's he's we talk every day just about. We talk all the time. Still a very, very close friend, one of my closest friends. He's just kind of stepping away because of his work schedule. He's kind of like stepping away from podcasting as much. As far as, because he's a co-host for here. He was the co-host here, so he didn't really have to spend so much time, preparing for the show or really being as, he didn't have to be on the show. So he's kind of stepping away. He tells me that he's going to come back back in the fold. He comes back for special shows. He was here for the anniversary. But yeah, he's pretty much adjusted his schedule to not stay up as late. So I considered getting a new weekly co-host. I considered it, but I don't know. I really don't want to make the commitment to get a new co-host. Plus, I enjoyed just ask Dr. Chris questions, to be honest, because we used to have a big format, and I really don't want PNP to be like that anymore. Plus, the more we get patrons, the more I'll be able to really spend time because my schedule is so huge. But right now, it's just the patrons that helps keep the show alive here. It's because of the patrons, to be honest with you, that I'm here. I enjoy your interaction and you guys are awesome, and I have fun with you every week, but my schedule is super busy. So thank you, the patrons, the people who are here every week and they're and interacting. That really keeps me rolling on this show. But yeah, it's an hour, from 11:45 to 12:45 a.m. So there's not a lot of people who are going to commit to that time frame. But you guys every single week commit to that time frame, because I know that there's so many people from so many different regions and areas. So we thank you so much for that. Let's see. Benoit trying to stop Scorpio from hurting Hawk on the latest Dark Side. Yeah, that was interesting for sure. Ted, thoughts on Ted on NXT? I'm not quite sure. Samoa Joe could be brought back. Yeah, but still won't be a color guy. Still won't be a play-by-play guy, though. What's up, Paul? Paul got his shirt. Paul got his PNP shirt. If you become a patron, you get to get yours too after 3 months. All right, family. I'm gonna come to a close. I'm about to land the plane, ladies and gentlemen. I wish on this software that you could play, because remember back in the day, for those who remember that at all back in the day, $1 Million Man. Oh, I haven't seen NXT today. I heard Balor and Cross was good, but I haven't seen. I usually don't catch NXT or AEW. Mostly, I don't catch them the same night. I wish I had some software, because I used to play like ending music as I was closing up. I had some closing music every week. See, you can't hear this though. You can't hear this, and I wish that you could. I wish there was an audio. Yeah, I wish there was an audio share feature here with this software, because I can't just play it. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I can do. Let's see how I want to do this. Maybe the PMP picture. Okay, we can do one of those deals. We can enlarge it like that. And we can bring this up like that. And let's see. I'm about to bring this down a little bit. Let me see. I'm trying. This is interesting, guys. We are okay. This is new and live and living color, ladies and gentlemen. Working on an outro here. Let's see. Let me know if y'all can hear this. Don't want that. I want that in this way. All right. And there we go. Okay. Can y'all hear that? Yeah, back in the day, Paul, this show has been going on for 9 years, man. This is the 9th year of this show. So when I say back in the day, I mean like 2012, 2013. All right, so here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Here's your outro music. I guess this is the best way to do it, is to do it this way. Well, ladies and gentlemen, outro. That's what we'll do for now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good stuff. Well, there's my outro music. I guess that's the way to make it happen here. Episode 478 in the books, ladies and gentlemen. We have fun as always. This is the Pancakes and Powerslams Show. I am Dr. Chris Featherstone, and we're going to have a good time next week, Lord willing. And I hope everybody have a wonderful night. Until next week, enjoy your Eureka Wrestling. God bless. And always remember, I do it for you. Have a good night, everybody. So long.